What's going on, everyone? It's Camille, Aiko. I hope that you are living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. We are on our book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and we are on chapter 20 on tonight. So we've got 2 more chapters to go, and hopefully you all have been taking something away from it as you are chiming in. Go ahead and put a 1 below to let me know you're going to be watching this live interacting. And if you're catching this on replay, drop a 2. Share this video to help your friends and your family. And then also that enters you into our drawing. So we only have 1 more to go, I believe. So make sure you share. Drop those 1s below. Drop the 2s below. Hey, what's going on, Marshawn? People who work utilize all their hours. What you doing? Other than harassing me on my live. I've been a little bit everywhere. Just got back from Maryland. I know. We got to catch up. Hey, Wilbert, what's going on? So as you guys are coming in, if you're going to be watching live, just drop a 1 below. And if you are going to be watching on replay, make sure you drop a 2, share this video, get this out to your friends and family, and then that's also going to get you into the weekly drawing. Hey, Otis, what's going on? Yes, it is a great book. I'm glad that we chose this because everyone voted on this book. So I'm glad we collectively came up with this option. So chapter 20, Omnipresence. So if you have not been following along, or maybe you just need a recap, first of all, of what the 10X rule is. The 10X rule is utilizing more thought, 10 times more thought, 10 times more effort into achieving your goals. So that way you can achieve 10 times what you initially desired. And you are also prepared to come up against the things that will try and distract you or challenge you from reaching your goals. Hey, Bradford, what's going on? Wilbert, I am on 80%. I'm on 80%, Jessica. Thanks, guys, for checking. So, and holding me accountable to making sure my phone is charged. So, omnipresence. Let's talk about what omnipresence is, all right? The definition. Omnipresence conveys is the concept of being everywhere in all parts at all times. So now, even though I'm watching, the picture is not live. Is anybody else having a problem seeing me live other than Bradford? Before I keep going on, anybody else having a problem seeing me live? Let me know. Drop me in the comments, or drop a comment in the comments to let me know. Don't drop me in the comments. Try refreshing. Okay, yeah, Bradford, try refreshing because I think everyone else can see me. Okay. So now, okay, cool. With omnipresence, remember that our author, Grant Cardone, is really coming from a perspective of sales techniques. He's into sales, okay? And so even though his main point of view comes from a business aspect, that really we can implement these concepts in any area of our lives. And so as we're talking about omnipresence tonight, I want you to get in your mind that not only is this for your business, but this is for your brand. See, each and every one of us should be creating a brand for ourselves. And a brand is essentially, what do you want to be known for? Like when people think of you, what is it that they should be thinking of? What are you establishing your reputation around? And so remember, this whole book, the whole concept, 10X rule, is not for the average person. This is not for the person who says, you know what, I just want to go to work and pay my bills and that's it. Like, that's not for that person. This is not what this book is about. This is not what these lives are about. So we are talking about people who want more. They want to be above average. They want to excel. They want to achieve. And so when you are thinking about this, whether you have a business of your own or whether you just want to make an impact in the world. You have to create your own brand. There has to be something that when people think of you, when people see you, then they're like, you know what? I know this person is great at fill in the blank. So whatever it is that you do, I know Wilbert's on here and I have to give him his shout out, right? So he's an electrician. So every time we think of Wilbert, because that's what his passion is, then we should be thinking of, oh, Wilbert, the electrician. And if we're talking about Jessica wants to do filming, right? So we can be talking about Jessica, the producer. But this is all part of making sure that we create our brand. And if people aren't identifying you with what it is that you're passionate about, then you might want to think about, are you taking enough action? And this is why you need to stay in on this live. And we're going to talk about some people who are truly leaving their footprint or have left their footprint. And they're great examples to us about what we should be doing with our lives, because life is more than just waking up every morning, going to work, coming home, paying bills, and doing it all over again. We should be seeking to help others. We should be seeking to make an impression, to leave a legacy, not just with money, but the way that you lived your life. And how people have been able to view you based on the things that you have accomplished during your lifetime. Okay. And so if you're sitting here thinking like, well, I haven't done much and you want to do more, stay on here. But if you're thinking I'm doing enough, then you're wrong, because there's plenty more that all of us can be doing. And so that's what you need to be focused on. All right. And I know it's late, so if you can't handle this mental talk this late at night, make sure that you share it, save the video, come back to it on tomorrow, and watch it when you're of good mental clarity. I want to be known. I don't even know what that is, Bradford. What is that? And I'm glad that it popped in your head. So give me a definition. Okay. So now, your goal in creating your brand, your goal in building your business is to be known everywhere. Okay. And again, coming from a 10x effort, a 10x thought point of view. So you want to be known everywhere. It doesn't even matter if people aren't in your state. It doesn't matter if they're in your same country. You want to be known everywhere. And people might say, you know what, that is a bit much, right? I just want to be able to make a certain amount of money for myself. That's all I want to do. Well, if that's all you want to do, then you aren't reaching your full potential. And this is what we're talking about, being able to reach our full potential and being able to excel past what it is that we have set our limits on. Because when we start doing low achievement, it's because we haven't set our limits high enough. We have bound ourselves to these little goals, and so we're getting little results. So if you look at your life and you're like, I'm not happy with where I am, I know there's more that I need to be doing, then continue to listen in. So the next thing he says is, things that are most valuable on this planet are believed to be available everywhere. Hey, what's going on, Brian? Being able to anticipate. Okay, cool. Well, let's get busy. Let's get people knowing what you want to do and what you're about and what your purpose and what your mission is. All right. So when we think about omnipresence, we're thinking some things that are all around the world, right? Water, air that we breathe. And so Grant is saying, make your goals so big that it almost becomes hand in hand with daily life. Like whatever industry you're in, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, set goals that are going to allow people all over to identify whatever your goal is with you. Whatever it is that you want to do, then it should be identified with you. They should see your face. You know, they think of being able to anticipate future happenings. We need to be seeing Bradford's face. We need to be thinking of Bradford's foundation. Okay. So then the next thing he says is mindset. The mindset that we need to develop is to make ourselves available everywhere. Be the most sought after. So if I need to get some electric work done, I'm coming to you, Wilbert. If I need to get some film work done, I'm coming to you, Jessica. If I need to know, what's about to happen and need some forecasting, I'm coming to Bradford. Why? Because I know that you all are the best. I know because you have gotten yourselves out there, you've gotten your names out there. And so now you're on the thoughts and the hearts and the minds of people. And this is what we have to do. Yes, bring it. You're going to get all the business, okay? So when it comes down to natural disaster, people from all over the world will be contacting you, wondering, okay, how can we get Wilbert and his team out here? Because we know that he can get the job done. Yes, like Xerox. Because there are other companies other than Xerox, but when we think about making copies, we'll say, go make some Xerox copies. But it's not that Xerox is the name for the copying machine. Xerox is actually a company. It is a brand, but they have branded themselves so well that anytime someone says, go make a copy, it's like a Xerox copy, right? So that is an excellent example. And we've even talked about that in a previous chapter. So people to see you so often that they think of you constantly and instantaneously identify your face or logo with not just the offering you represent, but even the offering made by those who are similar to you. And so again, Xerox is a great example of that. Like, you should be so much on the minds of people that even though they are thinking of a competitor, the only name that comes up is yours, because you do that good of a job, because you are making that big of an impact. And so again, it may be like, well, I don't really need to be known. I don't need to be out there like that. This isn't to be bragging or boastful. This is to make sure that you are making the greatest impact that you possibly can. That when you die, you are dying empty because you have given absolutely everything that you have. The world, everyone in the world may not get to know you or know your brand specifically, but that is the goal, because if you aim high and end up falling short, then that means you're still going to achieve something greater. And this is, again, the 10X rule, where we are putting in more effort and more thought so that we can achieve greater results in our lives. So think about what you have done so far. Think about it. Where are you in your life? Where are you with impacting people's lives? Where are you with your finances? Where are you with your family life? Where are you in your relationships and your friendships? Have you done enough? Or is there more that you need to do? Because if there's more that you need to do, then you need to begin to implement a higher level of effort and a higher level of thought and how you're going to achieve those goals so that you can truly live a life that is fulfilled. Okay, so the next point he says is that, or ask is really, are you operating at the right level of targeting and thinking big enough? Are you thinking big enough, or is your mindset too small? Have you limited yourself? How are you getting the word out here about what it is that you want to accomplish and who it is that you want to help? Like, do people even know about what it is that you want to do? Some of us have these great big dreams and we have these great big ideas, but absolutely nobody knows about them. Guess what? You cannot be of any use if no one knows about what it is you are trying to do. So you have to make yourself known. And if you want to achieve greater, you don't want to just get by, you don't want to just be average, then you have to get the word out. You have to let people know, hey, I can provide this service, or I have this product that is going to be absolutely amazing, and you are going to be absolutely unhappy if you don't have it in your life. And as we talked about last night, people, we should be so confident in our services and in our product or who we are as a person that we should be able to know that if they don't have it in their lives, then they're unhappy and they don't know about it. And that's how we have to go forward and stop being afraid to share our ideas, our products, our companies, our brands, our businesses with other people. You have to know that you add value and that people are better when you are a part of their life. Okay? So now the next thing is, have the goal to dominate and be everywhere. If you want to be a motivator, get up and dominate and be everywhere. If you want to be an awesome salesperson, get up and dominate and be everywhere. You want to be the best boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, get up and dominate. Now, don't be everywhere, but be in a place where your significant other is somewhere that, guess what? They don't have time to be distracted with everybody or anybody else. But you have done such an awesome job in your role that when they begin to see things and hear things, guess who they begin to think of? You. Right? So you want to make sure that in every area you are dominating what it is that you have been called to do. And then when people begin to mention your name, you're going to be able to tell if you're doing a good job in that area, because those will be the things that they begin to describe you by. Tonight I was at a birthday celebration for a woman who I've known now for several years, and to the point where now I call her Mama Dawson, right? And the things that I can describe and really see in her are the things that she exemplifies in a great way. So I can call her an amazing woman. I can call her an amazing wife. I can call her an amazing mother. And see, I don't take those things lightly, because just because you are a woman, a wife, or a mother doesn't make you amazing, right? But so many other people also commented on the life that she lives in those roles. And so when people think about you, what do people think? In fact, I challenge you all to ask your friends and family, like, hey, when you think of me, what are the top 3 words that come to mind when you think of me? Have people, and don't be too hard on yourself based on what they say. This is something where you might go to your closest people and they tell you what they think of you, or what the first 3 words are that come to them when they think of you. And if it's not based on, or if it doesn't align with your mission, if it doesn't align with your brand, then maybe you need to rethink how you are living. Maybe you need to rethink how you are running your business. And so you take that as constructive criticism to just get a feel of what people think of you and how they view you. Okay? Because if the closest people to you don't know, I guarantee you the rest of the world isn't going to know. Okay? So the next thing is get clear, not glit, but get clear on your mission, and then make sure that every decision you make is based on your mission. So again, you have to think of yourself as your own brand, and it doesn't really matter what it is that you do. When I was at Howard University this past week, the gentleman who was giving us a tour, he was just talking about in their business program that one of the things that they focus on with the business program is helping people to understand that they are the brand, and the experiences they have just help to build the brand. That's how you have to think about your life. You are the brand. You are not the company that you work for, okay? But you are the brand. And so you have to create your brand. And when people see you, then maybe you're good at financing skills. So then they begin to think, okay, this is the person that I need right here. If I'm doing if I need a financing job, then I know that I need to come to Bob, because Bob is going to absolutely kill it in the financing game. I know that my financial department is going to soar. Maybe you're good at sales. And so this, again, you're not the company you work for. You are your own brand. And how you deliver that to the world is going to see how much value you actually have and hold. Hopefully I'm making sense. Let me know. Drop a yes below. say something just to let me know I'm on the right path, okay? And that I'm explaining this in the proper way. So the next thing is stop worrying about the funds and focus on your mission. Okay, so God can give us different plans and different purposes. Thanks, Wilbert. And so when he does that, oftentimes we get stopped in our tracks because we feel like we don't have enough money to accomplish what it is that we want to do. But once you really start working in your purpose and you make a decision that everything I do is going to align with my mission, okay? And so, for instance, Grant, his mission is that 6.8 billion people will know about his services as far as being a sales consultant. And so he says, every decision we make at my company is based on this one mission. So let me actually reword that because he goes even bigger than 6.8. Introduce the entire planet to Grant Cardone. See, so he's saying he wants everybody in the entire world to know what his mission is, okay? Know what his services are, know what his products are. Now he says, now, is that actually going to happen? He says, probably not, but that is my aim. And so everything that I'm doing is to make sure that I hit my aim. So we have to stop worrying about how we're going to get things accomplished financially, because oftentimes you don't have the money initially to start whatever it is that you want to start. However, as you begin to walk in your calling, as you begin to walk in your purpose, as you begin to focus on your mission, then you are going to attract the resources and the people that you need to fund what it is that you are trying to do. But you have to be confident in what you're doing and march forward. So as you are going through and you are thinking about, this is what my brand stands for, after you identify that, after you identify what your brand is, then you have to go back and say, for every action, does it help me to accomplish the mission of being everywhere? If that is your mission, okay? So whatever your mission is, you fill it in. But for the sake of this chapter of being omnipresent, this is what we're talking about. So you need to ask, is this helping me to accomplish the mission of being everywhere, of everyone knowing about my goods or my services? Hey, what's going on, Eric? Yes, understand the imprint that you make on people is the brand that you leave. Absolutely. So the next part, do not allow any excuses or distractions that could limit your expansion. Because we've talked about distractions a lot, and we know that there are going to be people that come in that try and throw us off track. We know that we can get into our own self and our own small thinking, and that causes us to get off track. We retreat because we're fearful of things. We do nothing because we feel like, you know what, my goal isn't achievable, so I'm just going to do nothing. And we know that none of that is the answer. We know that average work leads to average results, and then it will diminish because when challenges come, it cannot sustain against those challenges. So we can't be that way either. So it's important for us to not allow bad things or challenges or obstacles to become excuses or distractions that could limit our expansion. And you know, those distractions sometimes come in the form of good things. Maybe you need to evaluate the relationships that you have in your life, because when those relationships come, they are toxic. They are toxic to your brand. They are toxic to your business. They are toxic to your family life. They are toxic to your spiritual growth. And you have to get those things out, because you can't allow them to come in and ruin your brand. So, you know, if you have one bad apple that is going rotten, right? That apple is bad, is rotten, then it's going to spoil the bunch. You cannot allow that to happen. And you know, there is an example where I was doing workshops and things a lot more heavily than what I'm doing now. And one of the things that had actually slowed me down is because it came around tax time, and one of my speakers was really adamant and nasty about me paying their taxes. And I'm like, no, like, this is contract work. Like, so therefore my company does not pay the taxes. You pay the taxes. And so there was this scuffle, that not necessarily even a scuffle, but at that point it was just like, things slowed down. They stopped doing the speaking for my company. And I was just like, you know what? I don't want this headache. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this. And so that actually became a distraction to what I was doing, because I allowed this to slow me down. And then not only was it a distraction because mentally I'm thrown off, like, why would you even think that that is the case? But now I'm using that as an excuse on why I'm not fulfilling my vision, right? And because of that, I'm not walking in my complete purpose, because I know what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And so those things become excuses and distractions, and we can't allow those things to be that. All right. So now, going back to being omnipresent, the question continues to come up. Are we thinking too big, right? Hey, what's going on, Bobby? Are we thinking too big? And no, the answer is absolutely not. The answer is absolutely not. So Chauncey, my mission is what I say every time that I get on any of these lives, and that's to help people live a life that they love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. So now, unless you want to settle and be average, then being omnipresent and thinking my brand, my purpose, my reason for living, and letting everybody know about that, it is not too big of a goal to think in an omnipresent mindset. Okay? And so we have to remember that if you want to settle and be average, it's not going to work if you want to achieve massive success in your life. If you want to achieve above average results, then being average is not going to work. Okay? And we've talked about it over and over and over again why it won't work. So you all should know that one. Now, great companies accomplish omnipresence. So what are some companies that you all know of? We've talked about some that exhibit omnipresence. Essentially all around the world, they're known. We talked about one earlier with being Xerox, right? We've talked about some before, like being McDonald's. So if you have any, drop them in the comments and share with us. What are those companies that everybody knows about? Those companies, like all around the world? You drive from exit to exit here locally, wherever you live, right? Apple, Microsoft, Walmart. Like, these companies have done such a phenomenal job of branding themselves and letting people know what it is that they're about and what it is that they do. Some other examples, yes. Some other examples that Grant gives is Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Google, Starbucks, AT&T. All right, you mentioned Apple, Ford, Macy's, right? These places are all over. And Samsung, yes. And we know about these companies. And a lot of times we know what they stand for. We know a jingle. We know something about them. Everybody sees those golden arches. We know what it is. It's McDonald's, right? So then, not only, as we've been talking, that building a brand and being omnipresent isn't just for the business owner, but for people as well. So, even if we begin to think about those people who have laid such a great footprint and made such an impact on the world that people know who they are because of the brand that they have created. So who are some people that you know that when you think of them, you align their name with greatness. You align their name with success. I think about Martin Luther King Jr. When I was in Mexico, there was a statue of Martin Luther King Jr. And even though some of the people who I was with truly didn't understand the magnitude that Martin Luther King Jr. Had, the impact that he had, there was still a statue, and they still knew that he stood for greatness. They knew that this was somebody of great character And that is why they had a statue there in Mexico. So though they may not have done all their research or truly knew, what the changes were that Martin Luther King Jr. made, they knew he was important. So what are some, or who, not what, are some other people who have made such an impact that it's kind of like, even if you don't know specifically what they do or what they have done, you know that their name aligns with greatness. Another one that, or a one that Grant made is Walt Disney, right? We've talked about Walt Disney and how everybody, if you mention Disney, everybody knows there's Walt Disney, right? Right. Michael Jordan. Absolutely. Everybody knows Mike. And Mike hasn't played ball in how long now? But he has made an impact. He left a footprint. He put his name out there. I remember being in Haiti. When I was in Haiti, that's when Michael Jackson died. And it was like the Haitians came over and was like, Michael Jackson died. Michael Jackson died. Michael Jackson died. And we're like, what? Michael Jackson died? Like it became this whole big, like everybody was then concerned with the death of Michael Jackson. Why? Because his life impacted so many people through his music, right? And so he was doing it through music. Martin Luther King Jr. was doing it through civil actions, right? In politics. And this is why people knew who they were. So what are you known for? What do you want to be known for? And are you taking the right actions in the right direction to make sure that you are known in an omnipresent way, that it doesn't matter what part of the world that you're in, that people will be able to identify it with you. Now, the chances are, Bryant Adonis brand. Okay. Is this your brand, Bryant? Because I'm not familiar with the Bryant Adonis brand. Educate me. But just as we are going through, even if you don't make it to being this globally renowned name or brand, what is going to happen is that you are going to reach your capacity. You're going to be able to reach the level in which you were supposed to reach, because everybody, bottom line, isn't going to be known. Awesome. To you, Brian. Awesome. Everybody isn't going to be known around the world, right? But here's the thing. You have to at least aim for it, because if you don't aim higher, then you are going to reach lower. And that means that you are not going to really be able to fulfill everything that you are put here on this earth to do. Okay. So create a name for yourself. Create a mindset that people have when they think of you. All right. Now, your name is your most valuable asset. Your name is your most valuable asset. People are going to put adjectives next to your name, whether it's good or bad. And your name is the most valuable asset. So it would behoove you, right, to make sure that your character is worth something, that your name is worth something. All right. People can take everything away from you, but they cannot take your name. They can take your finances. They can take your home. They can take your car. They can take all of that stuff, but that does not define who you are. You have to know who you are. I have plenty of friends and associates who have been in places where they have lost everything. They have lived in their cars, but they have come back so strong in their lives that now, they're multimillionaires. They are established in business. They're making an impact in people's lives. Why? Because they had a name and it meant something to them. So that means even when they hit rock bottom, they were able to come back up and make it to the top. And they haven't stopped there. Like they didn't just say, okay, because I have made it to this point, I'm done. No, because what they do, they love, they have a passion for it. And when you begin to align yourself with your passion and your purpose, then you're not going to view it as work. It's going to be passion. And you are going to enjoy it because you see the rewards that you are able to get from what it is that you are doing. So If people don't know who you are, they don't care about what you represent. So when we're thinking about being omnipresent, understand that if people don't know who you are, they don't care what you represent. So you have to get out here and get known. People have to know who you are, name and reputation. Yes, Bradford. All right. So he says, have you heard the saying, it is enough just to help one person? It is enough to help one person. And he rebuttals and he's like, you know what? Even though it is good to help one person, helping one person is better than helping no one. Really helping one person when there are so many people on this earth and majority of people need help, that just helping one person is not enough. So I want to add this onto it, that when you do help someone, that you have to watch your attitude. Like, what is your intention when you help someone? Like, don't help someone and be nasty and negative about it or just want to make money from it. Like, have the right attitude in serving, in helping people, because that also is going to be your brand as well. It's like, yeah, that person might help, but they always got a nasty attitude. Like, I don't even want people to help me who don't have a willing attitude, who don't have a positive attitude. Like, if I always have to pull you to come and help me, or I have to put a guilt trip on you, or you just can't see it that I need help and you just want to put me in a place where I just have to ask and beg and all of that. Like, no, nobody wants that. So your attitude and how you even approach helping people is so important. That is part of your brand. So if you're always yelling, if you're always negative, if it's like, even though you might feel like you have good intentions, like if your attitude is bad, the way that you present yourself is bad, guess what? People don't want to fall in line with that. And that's why you have to work on you. The more that you work on you, the more you're going to be able to get what it is that you want out of this life. And if that is to help people, then guess what? You need to work on you so you can help people. Stop being so egotistical. Stop being so harsh. Stop being so rude, just feeling like, well, this is me and this is who I am and I'm trying to help you and you should be grateful that I'm trying to help you. Like, stop. Calm all of that down. Calm all of that down. Change your mindset. Because even as we talked about on last night with customer satisfaction, or you fill in the blank satisfaction, family satisfaction, significant other satisfaction, you have to make sure that, number one, you can actually get what it is that you desire. So if that's customers, you have to make sure you're able to get the customer you desire. And then you have to be able to maintain them. And when you're talking about helping people or providing a service for people, you have to think you're not the only one out there doing what you are doing. And so if you want to be nasty, if you want to be negative, if you want to have a bad attitude, guess what? I can move on to the next person. There was someone who was telling me about how they were going to a person to get their hair done, and going to that person to get their hair done. They had been going there for about 13 to 15 years. But this person was so nasty with them that she sat in the chair and she said, you know what? After this, you won't touch my hair again. Like, we won't do this again. And after that incident, she stopped going to the woman to do her hair after 13 to 15 years. So you might be saying, I am the best at what it is that I do. But guess what? If your name is bad, you have tarnished your name because your character is horrible, it doesn't matter. It won't matter, because you will lose people. So you better change it around. You better work on you and make sure that you are doing the things that you need to do in order to, one, get what it is that you want, and then two, be able to maintain what it is that you want. All right. Tiana, what's going on, girl? My Wrightsville superstar. Okay, so the other thing is when you're thinking about what it is that you want to accomplish and do with your life, it has got to be more than you and your family. Like some of us, we're just like, you know what? I'm just trying to get out here and hustle and grind so that I can provide food on the table for my family and pay my bills. And guess what? That thinking has gotten you to where you are right now. So here's the thing. You've got to think bigger. You have got to be thinking beyond yourself. You've got to be thinking beyond your family, because as you help other people, you are going to be able to get what you need for you and your family regardless. But if you stop at your family and yourself, you haven't set your target high enough in order to reach what it is that you desire to reach. You will end up doing average work, because anybody can go get a job and work themselves to death in order to be cool with living paycheck to paycheck, right? Have enough money just to be able to cover bills and have some food on the table. Anybody can go and do that. Like, that doesn't take a whole lot of work. It may feel like a whole lot of work because you're not working in your calling, you're not working in your purpose, and so it feels dreadful. Versus if you started working in your calling and you are doing the things that you are passionate about, again, it becomes a reward. It becomes passion. All right. So you have to make sure that your why of what you are doing, whatever it is that you desire, is bigger than you, that it is bigger than your family, because that is what's going to continue to propel you to move forward. If you want to achieve 10x goals, if you want to have a 10x reality, okay? Because even some people, you might make a nice income and you and your family are set, but there's still something within you that says, I don't feel complete. I don't feel fulfilled. And that is because you have settled. And so you make a nice income, cool, but you haven't really made yourself to the point where you are doing what it is that you are supposed to be doing while you're here on this earth. Yes, think beyond survival, live and thrive. Absolutely. Okay, so the next thing that he talks about is, in order for this to happen, people must know who you are and what you represent. Be omnipresent. Who are you and what you represent? Because now that you have this big old why, people have to know that you're out here. Hey, I'm here to do your hair. Hey, I'm here to make your film. Hey, I'm here to fix your electricity, any electrical problems you have, right? So think in terms of being everywhere all the time. 10 times mindset to dominate your sector. Whatever it is you want to dominate, think bigger, think greater, think faster, so that you can dominate the sector that it is that you want to dominate. All right. Too much work. Let's think about this. Is this really too much work? Some of you might think this is too much work, but not really. If you do what you love, and if your reason is big enough, again, what you are doing is called passion. All right? You are capable of much more than you are doing right now. You are capable. You, me, we are capable of doing so much more than what we're doing right now. We're capable of so much more. But it's up to us to make the decision to go out here and do it. So are you going to settle, or are you going to get out here and make it happen? All right. So the next thing, and let me even go back to that. You know, I went to the rental car place, and I'm excited. Like, when I go on business trips and things, like, that's excitement for me, because I know that I'm going to go, I'm going to get motivated, I'm going to get inspired, I'm going to network with some people who are like-minded. You know, I might get some awards, and if I don't, then, you know, I'm looking at other people and I'm cheering them on, and it's a great time, right? I'm going to be able to just enjoy my environment. And so when I was at the rental car place, the gentleman asked me if I was using the car for leisure or for business. And I said business. And he was like, oh, okay, well, Hope you enjoy your weekend. Like, it was kind of like in a sarcastic way because I said business. And I said, no, I'm excited about this. Like, this is what I do. Like, I'm going down here to learn how I can better help people. And he just looked at me like I was an alien. Like, okay, well, I guess so. And I'm like, yeah. And then he just kind of got quiet. And I'm sure in his mind, he was either thinking that I was crazy, or it caused him to think about, like, why am I not like that when I go to work or when I do business? Like, when we think about the work that we do, and we think about our jobs, and we think about, what are we committing our lives to every day? We have to begin to say, is this what I'm passionate about? Because if not, it's time to switch things up. Yeah, he gave me the face, like, you like business? Like, you're going on a business trip and you're excited? Like, yeah, this is great. This is good. That's what I do. All right. CJ International Ministries. Excellent, Chauncey. All right. So now the next point Grant makes, he says, to make a footprint, get involved. So these are some actual strategies now that you all can implement. And it doesn't matter what area you're in, okay? It doesn't matter what your brand is, what you want people to know you for. And, I just think about social media. And there are so many people out there who just might like food. And so they do this when talking about food. And they do food blogs, and they travel, and they try new restaurants. And because they're able to do what they love, they end and show people who they are and what they represent. They're able to make money doing that because they have created an audience, and the audience wants to pay for whatever it is that they are offering. So maybe it's a person who has done a food blog, and they have a secret list of the top places to eat for around the US, right? People are willing to pay for that type of stuff. It's crazy, but it's out there because especially you think about people who want to travel and they don't know where to begin. And so they will actually go and buy into these things. But mind you, these people who are doing these blogs, they've just set up Instagram accounts, or they started Facebook pages, and now they make 5 and 6 and 7 figures just from doing this. So when the examples that I'm about to give you, don't take them lightly. And yeah, they might be outside of your comfort zone, but again, outside of your comfort zone is where the magic happens. Okay. That's when things start to change. So he says that in order to really have some things implemented and to make a footprint, get involved with the community, the school systems, neighborhoods, local politics. And let me go to the page because I didn't write them all down. You have to attend and be seen at events, write in the local paper, and get connected to the players in your community. Once involved, do everything possible to stay active. So if you want bigger contracts, if you want speaking engagements, if you want people to hire you to film, if you want people to hire you to do hair and makeup, if you want people to hire you to be the talent at an event, then you have got to get your name out there. People don't even know to hire you if nobody knows who you are. What is your brand? What do you represent? And get it out there. Be omnipresent. Maybe, again, your goal isn't to be omnipresent around the world. Maybe you just want to be the best person in your state. Then you need to get out there and you need to connect with everybody in your state. That should be your goal. So that way you stay booked. You stay busy, you stay productive, you're impacting lives. And because of that, now everybody is reaping the benefits, you, your family, your friends, because you have stayed focused on your purpose and your mission. And now you are achieving the goals that you desire. So then he says, some people may not like your success. You are always going to have critics, as we talked about. You are always going to have people who try and come against you, who try and defame your character, who try to say you aren't who you say you are, all of that. The best thing for you is, number one, to be who you say that you are. And then number two, don't retaliate with, you know what, we about to fight and go into physical harm. How you retaliate against that is massive success. you go harder. You achieve bigger. You achieve greater. Because there's nothing, if people see that you're real and you're genuine, then you are going to come out on top. But if you stop, it won't happen for you. If you go and do something crazy and you get locked up, then you're not going to be able to fulfill your dreams and your goals, because now you have allowed these people to sidetrack you, to distract you from what your mission and what your goal and what your purpose is. And I wish I could say that I was kidding, but I'm not. There was some dentist here locally. It was a dentist and a politician. That's who it was. And the dentist was so upset with whatever the politician did that this man went and physically assaulted the politician with some golf clubs. So this dentist, and they live in a very affluent neighborhood, okay? So this dentist was that upset that he literally went and physically harmed this politician based on whatever was going on. Like, he didn't like the way he voted or what he stood for. And now he has to do time for that. Like, do y'all understand that we cannot allow people to distract us? And that may not even be that there was actually, it wasn't criticism towards the dentist per se. He just allowed that man to distract him. And instead of, then running politics for himself or making a policy change, he began to get physically violent. And we see it all the time. Like, we see it all the time where people are like, you know what, I'm going to shoot you because you have talked bad about me. You tried to ruin my business. You tried to ruin my brand. And so now it is off with the head, and it's crazy. But we have to remember that that's not going to benefit anyone. Everyone loses when that is what we resort to. Okay, and the reason why I even speak more on that is because Grant mentioned that there are some people who tried to come against him and ruin his business. And he said the very first thing that came to mind was he wanted to physically harm these people. He said, but then his wife reminded him of his same advice that he would give to other people. And that is not to go out here and physically harm in retaliation, but to retaliate with massive success. All right. And so some of the other things that you can do, you can utilize your social media. You can blog. So get a website. You can get them for free. You can get them easily. Some copy, paste, and post type websites, drag and pull and shift and move. It's that easy. So, a child can do it. And if you still feel like you can do it, then really go and do that. Go find a child who can help you to create one of these free websites and make a blog. So this is all now tying back into what I was saying is that, there's people who are making 5, 6, and 7 figures literally from doing the things that they love, like going around the world, trying different foods and blogging about it. Okay, so if that is the type of success that people are able to have, doing something as simple as trying food, what makes you think you can't be successful at what it is that you want to do? Now, the other things that you can do is accept speaking engagements or try to get speaking engagements so that you are sharing your brand, what it is that you are about, what it is that you want to do, what it is that you have accomplished. Go out and let people know, because that is going to help just to create a platform for you. And so even though those people who ask you to come speak or who allow you to come speak, they may not be the ones who actually give you the opportunity to walk in your purpose or your calling. However, they can give you their audience, and their audience might have people who want what you have. So you need to get in front of the right people by doing the right actions and doing enough of it. Be omnipresent. Everyone should be thinking, okay, if someone came to me and referred or asked for a referral for whatever it is, that your name should pop up. If there's somebody who comes to me and says, hey, I want somebody in ministry, Can you refer an organization to me? Then I should be able to say, yeah, Chauncey, because he's out here doing all this stuff, you need to get with CJ International Ministries, because this is what they do. And I know they will deliver. Like, that's how people need to be when they think about your brand. Okay? And even we've talked about Apple before. And so with Apple, it's like they built a cult. Like, people who use Apple are like cult users. I'm always like, I'm never going to Apple because y'all are like a cult. But y'all have this culture, y'all have this pride around Apple, and y'all don't make not $1, not one dime. Y'all ain't never, majority of you haven't met the people behind the creation of the products. Like, there is nothing that really attaches you to Apple. You are the customer, you like the product, but you have this crazy loyalty to Apple and Apple products. Like, man, how powerful is that, right? Like, that's how your brand should be. Is that even though people might not know you personally, they may not have ever laid their eyes on you, but what your service and what your product represents and who you represent is so great that people are just like, yes, I will follow you. That's just how they do with Apple, right? Like, people like turn robotically into Apple followers. You want people to know who you are, that they are just going to be there right by your side regardless. I even think about McDonald's. Like, now within these past year or two, everyone is like woke to McDonald's. And so that has changed up what their sales and things have been, but not to the point where you see a whole bunch of McDonald's closing down. We got people who will go to McDonald's regardless, even if they say they turn vegan and vegetarian and all that stuff. I still see pictures of their kids eating McDonald's fries. Okay, like, people are still going and getting their $1 large old teas. Lent season, people are coming through and getting the fish, right? And even though they may not want to eat at McDonald's, they're still doing it. McDonald's is still having great business, whether we say we like them or not. It's like McDonald's is like the go-to for many people. Like, oh, I'm just saying, Wilbert, some of y'all are like robots. Like, Apple came out with the next update, I must get it. I must get the watch, right? I switched to Apple because my sister wanted to have the same phone in color. The only I hate about the iPhone is that it's too many updates, and it don't even matter what they do. Y'all just so faithful to Apple, and I'm just and it's a beautiful thing for Apple. Apple has set a great example for us and how to brand. Even think about the way that they market. Like, that's part of it too, is because they start with the why. Like, they catch you and grab you. You're wearing, see, I know, you Apple people, y'all got iPads and you got Apple computers, and you promise up and down that it's the greatest thing ever on earth, and you may not even like it, but you just telling people it's the greatest and referring them to it. I already know, cults. But you know, I actually need to get the wall. I know. I already know. They do an awesome job. That's all I can say about Apple, is they do an awesome job. But they start with the why. Okay, they start with really reaching you with why it is that they're trying to do what they're doing, and then they go from the why to the how. They tell you how they plan on doing that. So it's like Apple enrolls people into their plan of how they're going to completely just make the world in touch through communication. And so they go from the why they do what they do to how they're going to do what they do to the what. So they don't just go to people and be like, here, buy my phone. You know, they're like, you know, communication is used to touch hearts of many people all around the world. And how we plan to make an impact to make sure that people stay in touch is by putting an Apple phone and an Apple computer and an Apple whatever in everybody's hands all across the world. Here is the Apple 8, right? And everyone's like, Apple, yes, you rule. Versus, Here, buy this Apple phone. You can make phone calls on it. You can talk to people. You can text them. You can get on the internet, right? That has a completely different vibe to it. And so that is what Apple has done an amazing and phenomenal job is at connecting people to their why, and then describing how, and then finally introducing the what. And by the time they get to the what, like the what is just so phenomenal that people want to go and get it. And then when they get the product, they like the product. And so they stick with the product. And sometimes even though there might be some glitches and little things, they will still stick with Apple because Apple to them is the greatest. That's how you want to be. Like you want to build your brand from the why to the how to the what. And I'm off script. So if you are reading this book with me, like literally have a physical copy or a digital copy, you know that what I'm talking is not in the book, okay? So don't think you're going to pick up the book and hear this. You're going to have to share the video or save the video so that you can come back to this, okay? But when you are building your brand, you are thinking, why? Why do we want to do what we're doing? How? How do you plan on doing that? And then the what? Your product or your service, okay? So we've completely dived into a sidebar. But when we're talking about how to become omnipresent, like even if you're writing a blog or if you are doing a speaking engagement or you are being introduced to your politics and you're talking to people about what's going on and trying to get them to see the value of what it is that you have, this is how you need to be. You can't just be like, okay, well, here is my pen and you need to use the pen because you can write with it. Well, guess what? There are a whole bunch of other companies that have pens that they can write with, and they might be cheaper than what you're trying to sell it for. So you have to create a campaign. You have to create a name and represent yourself in such a way that there is no competition that really matters. Like a competition becomes irrelevant and you are the only thing that's out here dominating because you are a force to be reckoned with. Simple as that, right? I didn't run and buy the latest and greatest, still on 6. Have you been getting the updates? Because you at least have the updates. Let me see here. I need to go, Apple, I'm finally used to the phone. People want to know your dreams more than your plan, right? Because if they can connect with you and know why you're doing what you're doing, people like to get behind causes. And you just have to be able to communicate that in a way where they will then be loyal to you. If it is the romance and fantasy of their why. I don't run, let's see, I have the iPhone 6. My sister didn't want the 7. I'm going Plus. You'll figure it out, Justin. Apple users always figure it out. They figure out how to use their technology. All right, I have an Apple Pencil. Right. So y'all are just like appled out. And so that's my point. And y'all aren't the only ones. Okay. So they're on the absolute rise. Now, the next thing, make yourself known for what you stand for versus worrying about a small group of critics. Okay. So as we've talked about, there are going to be people that come against you, but you can't allow that to stop you. You go into massive action. So you go into the point of what we were talking about of utilizing your social media and blogs and getting involved in your community and getting into your local newspapers and getting speaking engagements and getting involved in the schools. And you're doing all of these things so that you can increase your brand, let people know that you are here to help and through your services and the products that you have, and allow that to do the speaking for you versus allowing these critics to ruin you, to allow these critics to get you distracted. And then you're making an excuse of why you can't do because you've had these critics in your life. Cut all of that out. All right. So make yourself known for what you stand for versus worrying about a small group of critics. Because once you begin to make massive action, they're going to become irrelevant anyway, because they won't have enough get up and drive to come against you with your massive action. Like you have to be so focused on creating the success that they get tired and they go by the wayside. period. And in doing that, not only are they going to go bye-bye, but you are going to have rewards and just results that are going to manifest that you had no idea was even possible. So allow those things to drive you to move to your next level. Adult coloring is relaxing, Jessica. All right, so now the final thing that we are going to read or discuss tonight on the book, I am going to read the last chapter of the book. And it says, all powerful companies, ideas, products, and people are omnipresent. They can be found everywhere. They dominate their sector and become synonymous with that which they represent. So have you become synonymous with what you represent? Have you become synonymous with what you represent? If not, that means you have work to do. You have so much work to do. All right? We are all have more work to do. We have more capability. Okay, the next thing. Real success is measured by longevity. So if you want to be excited and passionate for the long haul, then make omnipresence your constant goal. Your name, brand, and reputation are your most valuable assets. Only if enough people know of them and use them. And remember, the best way to even score against those who have it in for you is to make yourself so well known that every time they look up, each morning when they wake and right before they go to sleep at night, they see evidence of you and your success. All right. So guys, that is the final chapter of, not the final chapter, but that is the final paragraph of chapter 20. So the 10X rule by Grant Cardone. So if you caught this live with me, if you didn't already, make sure you drop a 1 below to let me know that you watched this live. If you're catching this on replay, drop a 2. And make sure you share this video if it helped you, because chances are it will help somebody else. And that's going to put you into the drawing for cash, gift cards, and health and wellness products. So we have one more drawing to go. And I think I'm actually going to do 3 winners for the final drawing. So there's 22 chapters in the book, and we just covered chapter 20. So thank you all so much for getting on here. I'm Camille Aiko, and I hope that you were living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Hey, Connie, thanks for tuning in. All right, guys, good night. Love ya. Bye.